we're here at your store. So you just bought this.
No. So there's another owner to the store, and I've been working here for 2 weeks now.
Yes.
But I have been into watches for, I think, 5 years now. And
right.
This was the first time where I was able to combine my hobby for watches and a job. So that's the reason why I started working here.
Yeah, I'm also a watch guy. I love watches. I love Rolex watches, and I'm here in Amsterdam. And this watch store I was at in 2019 and 2020 before the pandemic. And when I came in, I thought you were the same fellow that I met, but no, you're new.
Yeah, back then it was Amsterdam Vintage Watches, and now it's Gaillard Watches.
Right, because the name changed.
The name changed as well, and but the idea is the same: to sell vintage watches with some history.
Great pedigree and great history.
Yeah.
So, and what is your name?
My name is Jort.
Jort. Pleased to meet you, Jort. So we've been talking aviation, we've been talking watches, and I was unaware. I always thought that the Air King and the Sky Dweller were the aviation watches, but I thought the Air King was the historic Pan Am watch. But you've just educated me, so I'd like to kind of go into that. What's the story on this watch particularly? Because I was absolutely fascinated.
Okay, so this is the ROLEX GMT Master, and this one was introduced in the early 1950s, and it was issued to Pan America pilots. And so the pilots from Pan Am were looking for a watch that could not only tell time at home, but also at the place they would be flying to. And so they issued them only to pilots, and then from 1954 they issued the first GMT Master to the public. And it has since that moment it has become one of the most popular watches to travel with in history. Yeah, so the blue and the red are actually the Pan Am colors. It's known as Pepsi, but it's actually the colors of Pan Am in the early 1950s.
At the time, the aircraft fuselage was bare metal.
Yeah.
The Pan Am logo was blue, but the red would have been components of the U.S. flag, I believe.
I guess.
So these are the two colors that you would have seen on a Pan Am airplane.
That's correct.
It is absolutely correct. So, and I was unaware of how this 24-hour complication works. So could you explain the degrees of complication, 1, 2, 3? I found that fascinating.
So the first complication, when a watch only tells the time in minutes, and it's not a complication. When it tells it the seconds as well, then it does. That's the first complication. When this one tells the date as well, so that's another complication. That's the second one, and it tells you the 24-hour. The 24-hour hand is another complication, which allows you, by rotating the bezel, which is quite difficult on these older watches.
Yes.
By rotating the bezel slightly, you could set another time zone. So you would be able to read a different time zone on your, or two time zones at the same time.
Wow.
Watch.
These watches how did Rolex come about with the different colors? Was there a logic to that, or was that just an aesthetic?
It really was due to Pan Am. Some people say it was because of that you could tell day and nighttime, which is something that might work as well. But since not everyone is an aviation geek, many people refer to it as the Pepsi.
Right. So, but then we've got they've got the Kermit, they've got the Batman, they've got the what's the one that I like, the root beer, root beer, etc. These are modern creations for marketing purposes only, I guess. More or less.
Yeah, more or less they're for marketing purposes. But that's the reason why we at Gaillard love vintage. It's because this was at a time where they wouldn't produce things to be creative or to be that much different. They produced actual tool watches with a function,
right?
As where now gold and rose gold and greens and diamonds and all have taken their fair share into the watch market. This is from a time and period where they actually made watches for a purpose and to be actually useful.
So this is what they call it, a tool watch.
Yeah, and it was of course very important. It's this superlative chronometer, officially certified. So it's actually that precise that pilots could use it during their Atlantic crossings to use with in the Netherlands it's called a sextant.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the same in England as well, but for the location to tell where their location was. And
exactly.
They were very much depending on the precision of the watch. So it actually, maybe I put it in a little bit too dramatic scene, but
yes.
It was life or death if these watches were precise. So because if they weren't precise, their locations wouldn't match up, and then they wouldn't know where they were flying. So it was actually a real tool watch.
Wow. So now this watch dates from 77?
This is from 66.
66. Wow.
So this is nearly 60 years old.
It's beautiful. Absolutely. I mean, the condition.
Yeah, it is.
It's absolutely stunning. And then, now, did they all come with the Jubilee bracelet, or was that an option to get
it was the only sports model that would be available on Jubilee and on Oyster. And that's the reason why on current GMT Master models you'll still find a Jubilee. That's still true to history from Rolex, that they only produce Jubilees on the GMT Master.
Right. So today you say you can't get a Oyster band. You can't get this is the Oyster band, right?
Yeah.
You can't get this band on a new GMT.
Since I believe 2 years ago, they're both available.
Because I know certainly on the two-tone I've seen. And
Oyster. Yeah, so they're available in both Oyster and Jubilee,
but historically it was the Jubilee.
I believe that it back then the 6542 was the first reference number of the GMT Master.
Right.
And that one was on an Oyster, and then later they introduced the Jubilee on it as well. And I think the Jubilee gives it that much more character, or a little bit more of, I think it makes it that much more dressy. And I think it would work for pilots, since their uniforms and their outfits, that
it adds an element of class.
I think so.
Yeah, elegance.
Exactly.
Elegance. So so this watch is worth. So what is the price on this watch, and how would that compare to?
This one is 14,000 euros.
That's actually that's a pretty good for a.
Yeah. Most modern ones like the 126710 BLRO is brand new. Will go at the off-price dealer will be somewhere around 9 or 10-ish, I believe, 10K, and. But they resell on the gray market for nearly
more.
20, I guess.
Yeah,
so it's
more.
double the price, and these ones are somewhere.
I think they're a bargain.
But it really does depend on
the condition, I guess.
On the condition. So this one got a surface inlay. Everything is periodically correct. So the dial but the inlay has been replaced. That's why it still pops. But I got an original inlay GMT Master here as well, which is completely original, but some people wanted, to have the red and the blue pop.
So is this replacement? Is it? How do I say this? Is this an original Rolex?
It's an original Rolex part, but it has been replaced maybe 20 years.
I see.
Later
I get it.
So it's still an old inlay. It's not a modern one.
But it's not from 66 or 67.
But I got one here which is completely periodical.
Right.
So but it's more like the condition that we talked about earlier, like the thickness of the lugs, the condition of the dial, the stretch on the bracelet.
Does this one have this one has the date on it on the inside of the? I was going to refer to on the band, that manufacturer date, as you had here on the Submariner.
Let me check.
Because this was fascinating on this Submariner here, that, again, you showed me something I hadn't noticed or seen before.
No,
It doesn't.
No, so it maybe came on an oyster earlier. It is an older bracelet. That's was something I can tell. But yeah.
See, this one here, I mean, it's absolutely fascinating that the inside of the clasp is dated January of 73.
Yeah, that's correct.
And of course, the stretchy band, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, this is a gorgeous piece, this Submariner. So no, you've got awesome watches. So, you know, anyone watching, I definitely recommend coming to your shop here in Amsterdam. And I really appreciate your time, man. It's been an awesome visit.
Yeah,
I mean, this is, again, the second time I've been to your store, and next time I come back, I'm going to show you the bubble back that we talked about.
Definitely do so. We're always very happy to welcome.
Yeah, just to put it out there, my dad's father purchased a brand new bubble back in Geneva in 1948, and the watch hasn't worked for a very long time. And I'll bring it here to get your opinion on if we can get it working again. That's I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, thank you. I mean, it's just great to be in your shop and talk to you. It's just a great pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you here as well. It's not that often that people like you are that much of an enthusiast, willing to learn something about watches and to exhange information that that makes our job that much more fun.
It is fun.
Fun as well.
Yeah.
And I hope this will help you in your search for an aviation watch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I mean, I've had it in my brain to focus on a newer watch, but this is now this is getting into my brain as well.
I hope so. Yeah. I hope it gets into your brain because, and I don't say it just to like I don't want to sell you the watch if you don't want to, but like through just to a historical, in a historical perspective, this watch has been so much more important than the modern ones.
Well, that's it. There's a lot. I guess there's a lot fewer of these on planet Earth than there are of the brand new ones that are coming out by the hundreds of thousands a year. So.
And the ads that I've shown you, the aviation ads with Pan Am or with the Concorde or all these ads. Those are both aviation, both watch, and I think it for you combines the best of both.
I know this is,
and those ads will not show you the modern pieces. Those will only show you 1675s or 6542s or 16750s. These kind of reference numbers. That's what makes this.
So when you sell a watch like this to a customer, do you put it through a servicing or what kind of servicing do you?
So we bring it to a specialist who has been working at Rolex for 10 years.
Yes.
And then he started his own company.
Right.
And these guys are true vintage lovers, and they will do anything within their power to keep the watch as original as possible.
Right.
And 99% of the time we receive our watches more beautiful and truer to its original than we've given it to them.
It's just absolutely, wonderful. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I mean, I'll definitely share this with you.
Yeah,
it's
wonderful.
amazing.
Wonderful.
Amazing. Let's have a. So this one is.
So this one here's where you see the dial, or not the dial, the inlay. You can see the color differences, and that's where you can tell that this watch has never been touched or serviced or ruined by an authorized dealer back in the 70s or 80s or whatever. And this one is, because of that reason, is like €2,500 more expensive.
So you're saying this here?
Yeah.
This is original, not been replaced. See, I don't have the eye to figure that, to see that. I mean, or to know that. That's
and that's it really does make a difference. Like books and papers matter for many people as well, but to find an unpolished with the original inlay.
Oh, this is unpolished?
Yeah. So this one is you can still see the thickness.
Wow.
But I'm sure that on your channel there will be people, and I'm still learning, which is a very important note. So if I have made any mistakes in the things I've said, then you know.
Yeah, well that's it. I mean, there's so many nuances to this.
There is, and I don't have to explain to aviation geeks that it's the same with aircraft when it comes to either engines or configurations, or that there are so many small details that vary in these communities that are important. So if I made a mistake, don't hold a grudge on me. We're all human, but
but it's amazing that you, again, as an expert, you can see, you know that this dial here
is still original
to the watch. Yeah. So what year would this watch be from?
That's from the early 70s. So 66 and I believe 72 or 74, something like that.
Yeah. Of course, the watch itself is identical in design.
Yeah.
It's just serial number that sets them apart from... that's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Yeah, I
And the real thing with these watches is that as from the moment you know its history and its importance, and you know the weight such a watch carries, that's the moment when it becomes alive, or it becomes
that just looks
to pop, and then you feel way more connected to a watch knowing its history than just to go into an off-road dealer and buy a new one. Now it tells a story.
Yeah, because I'm now wondering who owned these watches.
Exactly.
Before you even mentioned it, I'm wondering who are the guys who own these? Where do they go?
Pilots, military.
Yeah, like it's just
maybe fashion designers who flew around the world selling. Fancy clothing.
Airbus salesmen.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All these different kind of people wore these watches. And they all thing in common that they were, most of the time, they were important people.
Yeah.
Making a difference in their own way.
No, this really does marry aviation to, the watch, and being a true watch connoisseur and watch enthusiast for sure. I mean, it's such nice condition.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. The dial. The hands. So the hands and the what is it called?
Inlay.
Yeah. Well, no, the hands, the material inside the hands, that's what's it called?
Tritium.
Yeah. That's original, because I know sometimes the hands and the material inside them can be replaced.
Yeah.
Amsterdam Vintage Watches is now Gaillard Watches, and it was an absolutely fantastic visit. Highly recommend it. Jort was excellent. And if you're looking for a fabulous used vintage Rolex, these guys are fantastic. Totally recommend that you drop in and see what they have. Their watches are in a fabulous shape. They have great pedigrees, and it's a place you need to visit if you're here in Amsterdam. There's no question about it. 20 out of 10 recommendation.